this is good.
There's
All
something
right.
to that. And
So,
I don't know how to
Alex, we're
explain that.
using
It's just
all
a
of this.
feeling. You know?
It's just a feeling,
I just go
right?
like, that's
so,
not
so
your
here's
word.
my rub. My rub is when you guys use pussy as a detriment, right?
I was just talking about this.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So first of all, I want everybody to know there's a great book called Pussy. So
Okay.
read it. So here's my,
Open
I'm in
it
the
up,
gym.
enjoy.
It's the best. You're going to love it. So I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
And somebody's like not lifting enough. And the guy's like, don't be a pussy, lift it up. And I'm going, wait a minute. One of the strongest parts of a human body is the pussy. There's
1000%.
nothing that is stronger than that. Never mind the fact that you're going to call someone a pussy in a derogatory remark, and then you're going to go out and find some?
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you justify that?
Sure. No, yeah. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
It really
If
does
you want
make
to
no
say be a
sense.
limp dick, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Right? That's not going to work.
I think
It's
what
not
we're
gonna
saying
help.
is you don't want to be a dry pussy.
Okay,
Right?
so let's talk about that for
Okay.
a second, because
The dry pussy tears, it
That's
gives
right.
up, it can't
So-
can't grow with the pain, right? A wet pussy goes like, I'll get through it.
all right, so I'm just going to share something.
I'm sorry.
All right. No, I agree. I don't want mine dry either, and I don't want anybody in there when it is dry, right? I don't want that either.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we're all in agreement on that. So all babies for the first 12 weeks start out with female genitals, the making of female genitals. Most people don't know that. All those female genitals morph into male genitals.
Right.
So that means that you got your dick from our clitoris. That's where you
Listen,
got
I have
it.
a kid,
Yeah.
and he's got his mother's dick. I'll
Exactly.
tell you that right now.
That's exactly
all right?
right. That's exactly right. But wait, it gets better.
Yeah.
How did you get all that juice? It comes from the prostate, not from your testicles. Just the sperm comes from the testicles and a little bit of semen.
see what
The
you're saying.
entire naval fleet comes from the prostate. That was a good one. Come on now, semen, entire naval fleet.
I just love the idea of like before you orgasm, your sperm are like, for Valhalla! And then they spray their faces.
Right, that's right. It was a submarine down,
Yeah, that's great.
dive. Okay.
For glory!
So the entire naval fleet comes from your prostate. Where the fuck did that come from? That came from the tissue that was going to make a vagina.
That's the prostate?
That's the prostate.
Is that why it's the G-spot?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that in a second. 'Cause
I'm asking the
you
question.
guys get a whole
I'm
dick
just asking
and
the
we get a
question.
spot.
Yeah.
It's like you take it to the dry cleaners to get it removed. No, we don't have a spot. We have an entire 40,000 nerve endings in our clitoris. I say clitoris, not clitoris. Clitoris is whiny.
To each their own.
Clitoris. Clitoris sounds big and important. Think about
I
it.
call it your magic button.
I love that. I love that.
I never said that.
But clitoris sounds like brontosaurus, doesn't it?
Sure, why not?
All right, that would change Jurassic Park drastically.
Friend of mine, comedian, she sells a fantastic shirt. I just want to give her a shout out because this is her moment. She sells a shirt where she says, I'll help you find the magical clitoris rex. Clitoris rex? I'm trying to make sure I say it correctly.
Exactly.
It sounds like a dinosaur.
It becomes a giant clitoris run.
I just
That
wanted to
would
make sure to
change
give her a
Jurassic
shout out.
Park.
Sorry.
Okay, so if that tissue of ours morphed into your prostate, doesn't that tell you that the vagina is supposed to be very juicy? Like, we make juice. We make a lot of juice. We make so much juice that some women think they're peeing.
I just don't think men want to hear that they're full of juice.
I know they don't,
Especially
but
not
we
in their
do,
ass, you know?
because you just said you don't want it dry. Now you don't want it juicy. Make up your fucking mind, right? Like, you want juicy.
I just think you're making an argument that every man's supposed to be like, you're right, I got a juicy ass. You're right. It's what I'm saying is you might be making a good point. Hard sell.
It
is
is
what I'm
hard
saying.
sell.
Hard
Well,
sell.
Hard sells because we have so many myths and misconception that
Totally.
we're more different than we are alike.
Yeah.
So if our genitals actually morphed into yours, doesn't that mean that we're more similar than we are different? So you're looking for a spot in our vagina to have, like, named after a guy, by the way, Dr. Grafenberg. That's why it's called a G-spot. And I'm trying to tell you that our orgasm is on the outside, just like yours.
So wait, you're telling me that when I am looking for the G-spot,
Yeah.
I'm basically like Wizard of Ozing
Yeah, you're looking
a
for
vagina,
something that
where
is
we're just looking for the wizard.
You're
And it's
looking-
this, what's his name again? The G
Dr.
doctor?
Grafenberg.
Grafenberg is the Wizard of Oz, is what we're saying.
no, yeah,
And
well-
I'm Dorothy, and I'm going down your yellow brick road.
That's exactly.
And there's a scarecrow in there for some reason.
Follow the yellow brick
The
road.
scarecrow's like, don't go deeper, man.
Don't go
It's
deep.
scary in there,
That's
dude.
right. And I think what I'm saying too is
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
so much fun is that when we know that we're more similar than we are different,
Yes.
then we are better sex partners.
Oh, 1,000%.
100%. So my 40,000 nerve endings are in a spot this big, my clitoris, as we like to say, and yours is in a spot this. Well, it's the head of the penis. Do you ever ask yourself why it looks like an arrow?
No.
See, you guys don't. Did you ever ask yourself why there's a seam down the middle of your scrotum?
No.
No.
You know why?
Why?
I'm not focused on me. I'm looking at the pussy. I'm joking.
Which we appreciate because
Sure.
we can't see it as well as you can.
Facts. I think that's
Unless we
also
get
the
a
thing.
mirror.
Listen, man, I think you're making observations
Yes.
that are focused on the under of the penis, which is not the perspective I have of it.
That's exactly
So
right.
you may have seen things that I'm not seeing as often.
That's exactly right.
And I think I'm doing the same thing for
That's why
for
we
a
should
lady.
be partners.
Yeah, yeah.
Like partners, right?
Can I just say, the book that's called Pussy,
Yes.
if they're not calling each of the page lips, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, that's where your scrotum came from. The lips.
Yeah.
Those two flaps of skin morphed into the scrotum. That's why you have a seam down the middle.
There's an old joke I used to tell about this where I was saying, I was talking about Caitlyn Jenner and the concept of, I was trying to learn how I'm allowed to talk about the subject.
Yeah.
It was about trying to learn how I'm allowed to talk about it, right? And I was saying, can't we all just, isn't it fair to say that that was a weird day for her body, the day that she decided to transition?
Yeah.
If you think of her body parts as employees that showed up for work that day. Like, that was a wild day at work, is
That
what
was
I'm
a
saying,
wild day at
right?
work.
Where they're
That
just like,
was-
all right, company
that's-
meeting, you
that's-
guys. We've been bought out by another company.
That's exactly right.
We're going to be going a real different direction.
Right.
Right? Penis is no longer with us. He's going to be working in our receiving department. And I was trying to get to the point that if you look up the surgery, it's not like they just like chop it off and go like, we're done with this shit. They are turning a penis into a vagina. You're still using all of the same stuff.
Same stuff
And I
that was originally
Yes.
that to begin with the every fetus that starts out with that original.
So I was
you're
trying to
right.
make the argument that I've never seen a greater case of recycling in my life. Like, this is the greenest anyone ever could go. And that was the point I wanted to make. I was like, I just think that's funny that we're talking about recycling when you really break it down. And people are like, you need to stop talking.
with you because you're just going to keep making me laugh, and
sorry.
then I'm not going to.
That's
be
my
able to
defense
talk.
mechanism. I apologize.
Get it.
I apologize.
No, but you're good.
You're talking about things I'm not qualified to talk about. And I'm like, so, Caitlyn Jenner, huh? Sorry.
And transitioning, like, first of all, we're always all transitioning. Like,
Okay.
I'm transitioning into being an old lady.
Okay.
right before your eyes.
Sure.
I'm doing that.
Okay.
You're transitioning. You're now a father.
Yeah.
So you're transitioning into, and every time that child gets older or something, every day, you don't know what that's going to be like.
Facts. Yeah.
Because, right, first they were a baby, and now, how old is he now?
He is 5 months old in
yeah.
a day.
Yeah.
Right? And this,
So-
I talk about this too, and I say, like, I don't even understand what world I'm preparing him for.
That's right.
Right?
That's
'Cause
another thing.
Dog, when I think about my childhood versus like what they're getting ready to do, I'm like, I don't even know what this world is right now. Think about it. All the best dunkers in the NBA are white. Kanye's going to be the first black Nazi, and Haktua was a currency. What the fuck is going on right now? I don't know how to explain this to people.
I can't help you with that. And
Yeah.
I'm a therapist and can't even help you with
Sure,
that.
sure.
Because it's way beyond.
Yeah.
It's so far beyond.
You're like, brace yourself. Live in a
Exactly.
cul-de-sac. Don't go outside.
It's kind of like when you don't know what to do, just sit still.
Totally.
That's how I feel right now. Is like I shouldn't even move.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I move, shit's gonna. Yeah. It's not
I am in
gonna
a
go
constant state of, will this just blow over? Maybe I'll just wait it out.
right. Or blow up.
Oh, I mean, come on.
Yeah, one or the other. It
Sure.
seems like it's going to happen. I'm sitting here with JB Ball, and if you haven't gone on YouTube, type in those letters, JB and Ball, and then watch his specials. Go see him live. Now, I had the honor of seeing him live in Santa Barbara, the whitest audience, which I was part of. Come on, let's just say
It was what it was.
it was the whitest, oldest audience that I was. Like, I was actually young there.
Yeah.
And he didn't open, he was a partner with Trey Crowder. So that's how I want you to think about it. You are a partner of Trey Crowder.
By all means, he sold the tickets, but sure.
Yeah. Well, no, like actually, I'm going to tell you, when I bought the tickets and then when I saw that you were on, I was excited for you to be there. So I want you to know that, because then I went and looked you up, and then I got really excited that you were there. Then you came out on stage, and I was like, holy fuck, holy shit. This guy. So you have to be really, really smart to be a really good comedian.
I'd like to think so. My ego would like to think so.
Well,
right?
I experienced it.
I appreciate that.
all
Thank
right?
you. I try. Yeah. So what I'll say, my brand of comedy, a generic way of saying it is it's smart comedy.
It's
right?
really smart. And it's still really funny.
But I'm still hyper aware of how many people I find smarter than me on these topics. So I always hesitate to call myself smart relative. That's the hesitation, right? So I do think in the comedy world,
Right.
comparatively, I'm doing some of the smarter stuff.
Yeah, you
for
are.
sure, right?
Yeah.
But I also go like, but defer to the professionals, please. That's more what I just want people. I'm not the end all be all. I'm just a funny, I got funny takes.
What if intelligence has physical intelligence and emotional intelligence? So we've talked about relationship intelligence.
Totally.
These are all things, and I would prefer to call it wisdom, because I think you can gain wisdom more than you gain intelligence.
I can see that.
So from experience. So now you're a dad of a 5-month-old. You've never been a dad before, and you've never been, I don't think, have you ever been a dad? Okay.
No.
So you really don't know.
Right.
And so you're doing it, you're learning as you're doing.
Yes.
And we just put you in the ring downstairs, which
Oh, yeah.
we'll show a lot of, and so you actually boxed. Okay. You learned while you were doing. We didn't talk about boxing.
Right.
You went and did it, JB. You like got in there and asked questions and practiced and changed because you did something.
Yeah.
So as a comedian, is it true that you learn every time you walk out on that stage?
Oh, 1,000%. That's my
I don't think
favorite
people
part of it.
realize. They think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just memorize it. And
I
then,
think that's because some do.
yeah,
So I would argue those people aren't wrong. They're just not as right as they think,
yeah.
right? You can find examples where that is correct. It's just not as common as they would hope or how they conceptualize it, right?
Yeah.
I don't go on stage unless I have something to learn about. That's a true thing that I just do. That's
Say
a
that
rule
again.
in my head.
Say that again.
I don't go on stage unless there's something I can learn about.
What if everybody walked the earth doing that? Every day at work.
We'd be funnier.
Yes.
I'd say that. I've seen some shows where I'm like, you should learn some more if you could. That was wild that you said that.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd be better parents. We'd
think
be
so.
better partners. We'd be better at work if we went wanting to learn something new.
Okay, can I give you a hot take I have about parenthood?
Yeah.
All right. I've had this premise for years. I've never done anything with it. I want to more so now than ever, but I don't think anybody should be a parent before 50. Now, here's the concept, right? Because I know we'll never do it. And this is what my comedy is like, right? Like I am just posing fun hypotheticals that I know won't be. I'm aware of that, right?
Right.
But
They're
it's
based
fun
on
to
something.
entertain them for a little bit. I understand the flaws.
Good.
And that's where when people feel the need to correct me, I go like, I know it's hypothetical, my guy. I'm saying entertain it hypothetically. So I think no one should be a parent, and this may be a little ignorant, but no one should be a parent before they're 50, because my argument is you don't know enough about the world and the cycles of the world to actually be wise to a child, right? I also think 50 is a safe age, if we're just averaging it out, to go, you are no longer dream chasing. It doesn't mean you're not looking for some kind of fulfillment in life, but you are less likely to be dream chasing by that age. I think you have found something about your identity and what you want to be and how you want to live by that point. In a lot of cases, not all, right? But if I'm 20, I'm still dream chasing. I still have things I want to attain, but now I'm supposed to give advice to a kid. I was literally a kid 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to say? I haven't even
Or
seen
I'm
a
still a
cycle
kid
yet.
on some level.
How many times do you see like a music artist or an actress or someone in the arts where you go, oh, you know what? They're just this generation's that person. Like, I'm just looking at the new version of this thing I've already seen, right? And to me, that doesn't take away from this new person, but I'm going, if I am giving you advice completely unaware that this is a cycle and that it's coming back around, I don't even know how to prep you for that.
That's right.
So I think once you've lived long enough, you're just aware of like, hey man, so here are the things that really hold value and here are the things that are fleeting. And I can kind of help guide you through like, don't worry about this as much. That's going to come and go. This is longstanding.
And I think we're less apt to control. So we're still, some people use their children as ego boosts.
Oh, 1,000%.
You know what I mean? It's like, do it this way because, well, you should have been better on the baseball field, or how come you didn't get an A? You never were like this. And when people come out, oh, my daughter just got into Harvard. And you know what I say? Did you get into Harvard?
Right.
And they go, no, my daughter didn't. I go, then stop talking about
Stop talking about it.
Right?
You didn't do shit. No, I'm joking.
Exactly.
That's great.
And you may have helped on some level, but don't
Totally.
take that on, that they're supposed to make you feel valuable and wanted and loved. If you do, get a fucking puppy.
Yeah.
Get a puppy.
Devil's advocate.
ahead.
Because I agree with what you're saying, right? But I'm kind of thinking about this. I'm going, oh, that's kind of cool too. I'm thinking about, so from my perspective as a comedian, I don't like to brag about being good. I do believe I'm good, but I don't like.
I saw you. I think you're great.
Thank you.
Okay, that's just true.
But I don't like to talk about it in that context of just like, look how good I am, right? Because that's not my disposition and that's not how I want people to view me.
Sure.
But when I see other people take up for me and they talk about how good I am or defend me in these other circles, that is wildly fulfilling, right? Because it helps me feel like people do get what I'm doing and they do appreciate the work I'm putting in and the extra detail to certain things that others may not pick up that really differentiate myself from people.
So when someone gives you a compliment.
Oh yeah, it's the whole reason I do. It's the whole reason I do comedy. I say thank you or great. I'm grateful in any kind of number of ways. I'll answer it like this. This is the exact reason I do comedy, right? I love being told I'm right. If you get to the core of it, that's it.
I love to be told that I'm right.
I love every time you laugh, you're telling me I'm right.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's
right.
Exactly
Now,
true.
What I'm trying to be right about, that might dictate the kind of person I am morally, right? I try to be right about things that I think I'm in the moral high ground on, right? So I go like, it's great if I'm right. If I'm right, we're winning, right? If I'm wrong, oh shit, all right, we're in a shitty situation, right? So I choose what I'm making jokes about carefully, right? And I try to go like, no, we're better off for me being right. How fun is that? Right? So that's what I look for. But it really is just deep down. I just like somebody going, oh, you're good. You're good.
So I'm in the audience with my daughter and we're watching you. And there's nothing better than to watch someone on that stage watch us.
Yeah.
Mean you saw us. You were with us as you talked and we responded. You responded to that response. Yeah. There were times that you made yourself laugh.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of those people. Yeah. And I know some people don't like it when comics laugh at their own stuff. I'm genuinely laughing. It's not fake. Because the reactions show to show are different. Every crowd has a different personality.
Yeah.
So it's me getting to know you as a cohesive unit. And you're funny in certain ways that another crowd is not funny in that way. That's what's making me laugh. Can I give you a great story?
Yeah, tell us that.
I can tell you exactly why I do that. Because I know where it comes from. So my favorite show of all time is the show called Spartacus Blood and Sand. It was on Starz. It was starring this guy named Andy Whitfield. It was his first breakout role. I have it tattooed on my body. He does the first season. It's amazing. And everybody who saw it was like, this might be the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's his breakout role. It's his first lead role. He gets Hodgkin's lymphoma right after, right? So he's dealing with cancer. They're trying to go into season 2, but he's dealing with cancer. So they try to prolong the production of it so that they can give him time to beat it. It goes into remission, right? They're about to go back into production. He gets it again, right? He was living by a mantra. There's a documentary on this. The documentary is called Be Here Now, which I think is a quote from Estot. There's a philosopher. Somebody's told me about that, but I learned it from Andy. And basically, the mantra he lived by while he was going through the cancer treatment with his wife and his 2 young kids was Be Here Now. It was about, when I am going through cancer, it is a race against time, and time is the thing that I'm competing with the most. And if I am not living in these moments with my children and with my family, if I'm not really sucking this up and making the most of what it is right now, I am doing everybody an injustice, right?
That's true.
And that really spoke to me, right? And this idea of like, we all hear different variations of being present, like we were talking about it downstairs, right? But that was always mine, right? Be here now. So every time before I go on stage, I tell myself to be here now. And the idea is like, this is the only time this performance will happen.
That's right.
I have a version of these jokes, but this is the only time I'm going to tell it to people like this, under these circumstances, with these variables.
That's right.
So I try to enjoy that for as much as it can be. And I don't worry about recreating anything I did in the past. And I don't worry about how it's going to be perceived in the future. I just try to have as much fun as I can right then for that length of time. And that translates to having such better experiences. I don't care how my set goes. Typically my set will go really well, but I don't really care how it goes. I kind of care how I feel like I connected though, right? There are ways to captivate that are better than being funny. And if I feel like I have connected with you, that is going to seep deeper than any joke I could have told. The joke is the icing on top, right? But people will leave going like, I just like vibing with that dude. There's something about that. I really dug that.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And it's something like, it's a conscious effort, but that's my way of not feeling mundane and not phoning it in. And sometimes this show, I'm only going to get this many jokes out because that's the pace we're at. You know, and this show, I'm going to get this many out because that's the pace we're at. I'm talking to different people, right? But the point is, at the end of the show, and you saw how long the merch line was, like, I want to feel approachable, and I want people to feel like, dude, you're cool. I just want to chat with you.
How long it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in that line, and now you're in this seat.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah,
right?
That's great.
Because then I went on and I went through your website and I contacted you and said, I want you here.
Which I appreciate. Thank you very much.
Well,
because when that stuff comes in, though, it's validating.
It is.
Like, it doesn't matter who it comes from. Like, when somebody takes the time to go out of their way to find your contact info on a website that you may not have given them, right? And then they still find a way to get to you, and then you get to read like compliments or however they were touched that night. Right. Whether you remember it or not, it does feel good to feel like you made a difference to somebody, you know? Yeah. Because for as many people that do feel that, that doesn't mean they're going to reach out and let you know, you know?
So you're 7, 10, 12. Did you make your family laugh?
Yes.
Were you the one? Yeah. I figured.
Yeah, I was a funny kid, but I didn't grow up in a funny house.
No, well, that's why you had to be the funny kid.
Yeah, there was something to that.
Yeah, so kids try to balance us out.
Yeah.
So if you had a very serious, even traumatic childhood, which I did.
Okay. In Boston? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You don't say.
Yeah, fucking wicked pizza.
Yeah, Bill Russell said it was great there. Really?
Oh my
in
God.
Boston, you ran into trouble?
In trouble all the time. And by the way, I grew up in a mixed race family.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh, but that's the East. There's no racism there. I go, what are you talking about?
What are you basing that on?
Right. All right. So you're the kid
Yes.
in the family that is going, holy shit, if we don't laugh a little bit, this whole shit's going down.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah. I knew that. So that just shows you how
but that's how I am in like every room. To be fair, like that's how I was in the classroom. That's how I was on sports teams.
Right.
I'm that in every space.
Exactly. Because you realize it works. It works. So mom and dad divorced. How old were you? Tell us a little bit. Where'd you grow up?
I was either 4 or 5. So my dad was military. He was Air Force, right? He grew up in like very rural Alabama in the 40s, right? So he's from a very specific time and a very specific place and a very specific norms. Like my dad used to say stuff like, hey, you can't date white women. The white guys will come for you, right? That's the era he comes from. Yeah. Right?
He's right.
And
or they'll lynch you.
Sure. That was really
That's
the thing.
the other thing, yeah.
I remember one time, this is long after my dad and mom got divorced when I was 4. So most of my life is they're not together. That's I'm totally at peace with that.
It's a very traumatic time for them because you couldn't.
For them, I don't feel like for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they did such a good job that I never felt like I was wanting. You know what I mean? Like I never felt that longing for, God, I wish you were here. I felt like I got enough of it. Like I had enough direction that I was like, I knew what I was working towards. They did a fantastic job.
Were they able to work together after they got divorced?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, I mean, they were rivals for a long time, but they did a really good job of like keeping me from that. Okay. So it was only in adulthood that I learned like how bad it had gotten. But as a kid, I never sensed it. I just knew they weren't together, and I was fine with that because my dad was such an overachiever. I was raised by my father, not my mother, which I used to joke is like opposite of the black stereotype, you know? Yeah. I show up on the basketball team and everybody's like, my dad's not here. And I'm like, really? He won't leave. But yeah.
Siblings?
I have 2 older sisters, half sisters. I don't call them half sisters, but just so we understand the family tree.
From mom?
Each.
Yeah.
So one sister from each of their previous first marriages.
Wow.
My mom and dad are each of their second marriage, each of their second kid. Right. And then they were both like, we're never doing this again.
That's right.
Right. And so it's really hard to feel like you were wanted when like your dad's like vasectomy afterwards. And then my mom's like tubes tied right after. I go like, sure, but you wanted me. Totally. Totally. That's how I feel. Yeah.
And you're the only boy.
I am the only boy. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But I guess what I was getting at there with what my dad and my mom were doing was my dad did something really early on that I think you'll appreciate. As a single father, he went to a psychiatrist very early and he said, listen, and this is like 90s, like, right, we're talking like 91, right? Before it's like really in the mainstream of like, hey, seek help. He said, hey, I have a little boy. I don't know what to do with him. How do I not break this thing, essentially, right? And the advice she gave, and I'm so grateful for this, and I always try to pass it on, the advice she gave was get him involved in as many things as possible, right? You want to occupy him, but you want to give him perspective. Help him experience as many different things as you can, right? And he's going to be able to pull from that, right, a variety of different skills, you know, social skills, sure, but he might find some things that he takes a liking to or he finds skills in. Or the idea is just gaining perspective helps you find where you are in relation to things. And it's so much easier to navigate things when you feel like you have a sense of where you are. Yeah. Right? I played every sport. I was in every club. I was in the chess club. I was in the basketball team. I did AAU track and field, right? I was in painting clubs. I was going to science fairs. Like he put me in everything, right? And as a result, as I got older, I realized talking to my friends and other people, they didn't have those experiences to pull from. And it really informed the way that they handled certain circumstances that were coming up or how they spoke towards things. My mom became a singer. And she was a big jazz singer in the Tampa Bay area. She got a record deal to do dance music during like the techno boom. And she has a hit song. Like to this day, it's a hit song. I can go in like if I wanted to, I could go in any gay bar and say who my mom was. And they're like, you're drinking for free.
Wait, I was in those gay bars.
yeah. It's
wild.
With
my gay brother and his friends.
Great song. I mean, it's techno. Like at the end of the day, let's not overcomplicate it. She has like 3 lyrics that she's repeating a million times over the course of the song, but it's a hit song. So cool. But point being was, when I would go visit my mom, she might have these performances, right? So I grew up going to jazz clubs and watching her perform. So I was in those environments. I would go to techno clubs or raves or whatever, and I would be there. Like I got to see that at a very young age. So the thing that exposed me to was gay men, right? I'm not homophobic in the least, but I forget that my introduction to gay men and gay culture was at like 11 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who else is getting that if they're not in their family, right? So I got like all of the like out of me when I was like 12. And I was just like, no, it's just funny, man. And like, it just doesn't bug me beyond that. One of my best friends is a gay black comic. I say, there's nobody he's gay, black, and adopted. I'm like, no one's allowed to be funnier than you. Exactly. You should be the funniest person on earth.
Absolutely.
Right? But I think that speaks to my comedy, and that speaks to like my position socially, right? Where I just go like, hey man, look, I'm not here to judge you. Like, love is love. You do your thing. As long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't care. But I just want you to be happy. Yeah. And I just don't feel threatened by your happiness. And that's kind of my disposition.
Say that again.
I don't feel threatened by your happiness.
Do you know that actually is a thing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Because everybody says, I just want you to be happy, and they don't.
Right.
Because they know that if you're happy, you might leave them.
Yeah.
If you're happy, right? And I didn't make you happy.
Sure.
So I really don't want you to be happy, because I'm afraid if you're happy, you'll see how unhappy you are with me, and then you'll leave.
Have you ever met somebody who you got a sense of what they needed and you had a self-realization that you couldn't provide it?
Yeah.
What'd that feel like?
Oh my gosh. It's like I was packing.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I had to pack. I was like, oh, God, this is only a matter of time. This is going to end.
Yeah. Right? There's something about it, like if we're likening it to like boxing, right? There's a moment where you're like, I feel like I got a shot. And then there's a moment where you're like, oh no, I got no shot.
I got no shot.
You're still in there. You're like, oh no. Right. Oh, I'm too aware. Exactly. I'm not supposed to be here.
That's right. We're so not okay together. And I do remember that. Now, I'm overly sensitive to that because my dad didn't like me.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't like me.
In what regard?
So I was too much like my mother. So he
married her.
Talked about exactly. He picked her, had the 3 kids, and then when they separated, he just got so angry at her. So now he's got 3 kids.
Yeah.
And which one looks like her? Which one is more like her? Me.
Okay.
So it's like, so I didn't have a chance, right?
Yeah.
And so when you say that, when you talk about things that inform you, I'm like, oh, I know when someone doesn't like me, or I know when someone's projecting on me what's going on for them. And then I have to fix that. I have to heal that. That's my job, to heal that, right?
Yeah, I see
so that I don't keep using people to make me feel wanted, which is what I did when I was younger. So you go back to your idea of having kids at 50. Yeah. You know, this idea that we could work out our shit, that we could actually understand what happened to us, how it affected us, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Right? Because some trauma actually gives you post-traumatic wisdom.
Yeah.
It gives you like good shit. So this idea too is this constant self-reflection. Now, we just did that in the boxing ring downstairs when you and I were boxing, and I asked you questions. Because people learn a sport thinking they're just going to use their body, right? And when you use your mind, your thoughts, and your feelings with whatever you do with your body, that is perfect. That is the epitome of being a whole human being.
Yeah.
So on stage, what I experienced from you was you were thinking, you were feeling, and you were moving. Yeah. Right? You were using your whole being. The worst thing I hate is when I used to have my own comedy night at the Improv every December 1st, which was AIDS Awareness Day. And they would want to give me a microphone with a cord.
Yeah.
even though they had wireless. And I go, no, I don't do cords.
What's your beef with the cord?
I want to go in the audience if I want to go in. I want to go wherever
interesting.
I want to go.
Okay.
That room is where I belong.
So the cord was limiting for you.
Cord is limiting. I don't get to go where I want. And then I would say, oh, and by the way, I want the audience lights up. I'm not in this room for them to be able to be in the dark. You know, I'm here. We're all here together.
I love it. You're having a comedy night, and then you're telling the club, hey, all of your comedy rules, throw those out.
They go out the windows.
Like,
right? And
I
I'm
ain't
older
doing
than
that.
most of you, so just shut the fuck up and do it. You asked me to do this night.
That's
Therefore, you know, you invited me, bud. So now do it this way.
That's great.
And I remember so many of the comedians going, you put all the lights, you want to see everybody? You don't memorize? You want to be able to walk around the room? I said, not only that, I'll bring them up on stage if I want.
Yeah. I'm very big on I want to see everybody.
Yeah.
And I understand when we're doing theaters, you're not going to light the whole theater from an ambiance standpoint. I get that, right? But we always make it a point where I go, I want this many rows lit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because it's about connecting. If I can't see your eyes, the way your eyes and your face inform me, that lets me know how I want to pivot. Right. And so I might say this joke this way to you, but I might say it this way to them.
That's right.
And if I have nothing to go off of, now this is me talking in an echo chamber. If I can't see any faces, I'm not connecting. I'm just sharing my jokes with a dark room, which is insane.
Right. It's insane because you're going to do that at home.
Yeah.
You're going to take that same format, if you're not careful, JB, all of us will, and we'll be talking at people.
Totally.
Not with them. We won't be looking at them. We won't be in a room together. It's like, I'll turn my
That was the worst part
back.
of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's the worst part of when we're sad and scared and we're trying to have a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And we don't want the lights on. That's the other thing. It's like, you're going to have sex, you better have the lights on. If you can't watch what you're doing,
it
stop
does
watching
bug me
porn.
when anyone says turn off the lights. I go, then who am I with?
Exactly. That's exactly
I want to look at the you.
That's right. Not only that, turn that mirror around so we can look at ourselves. Bring it over closer.
Oh, dude. I remember the first time I saw a mirror on a ceiling, I went, what the? Hey, what's going on here? Yeah. That was great.
So I love that we understand this idea about being a whole person in a whole context and that idea of being here now.
Yeah.
Right. And doing all of that.
Wait, can we take a step back?
Yeah.
I'm just having a thought and I am wondering, when you're having sex,
yes,
but you're watching the two of you in the mirror, are you cuckolding yourself? That's the perspective you're looking at. If it's more hot to look in the mirror, are you like, man, it's almost like I wish I was in that chair over there. I never thought about that till now.
I can only tell you what's happened to me is, look how good we look.
There are times that I will look at the two bodies, I go like,
dude,
listen,
look.
I'm not a Tetris master, but we're looking like we're fitting right now. I'll tell you that. Right. Yeah, there's something to that.
Well, I also think that every sexual experience has to be different, just like you said about every comedy experience, right? Every moment in your life is different than it was yesterday. Therefore, however you're going to have sex or have a conversation with someone or have dinner with someone, it's going to have to be different if you're present.
Yes, and I'll take it a step further, right? To the point that we were talking about. I think sex when you're younger and stand-up when you're younger, you're making similar mistakes in terms of connecting with the audience in that you're not.
That's right.
Right? You're doing the actions without the connection, and you don't realize without connecting, you can't elevate its meaning or its feeling, right? And the minute you start figuring out how to connect with your partner or said audience, all of a sudden it elevates all the material, right?
It's so much more meaningful.
Do you ever flash back to a sexual experience you had when you were young, and you're like, what was I doing? Oh my God. I told myself that was good. I told myself that was good.
Oh my God. How many orgasms did I fake?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Facts.
And they go, well, men can't fake orgasm. I'm like, of course they can.
I have.
Of
I'll
course
tell you that right
right.
now.
You don't fake an erection, but you can fake an orgasm.
Yep.
And then we get up and go to the bathroom and nothing happens. Nothing's falling out. And I go, oh, wait, no, he didn't have an orgasm because there's nothing coming out.
No, sure. Yeah.
We know. We just
I have pretended I was like, oh no, I shot it over there. I'll clean it up. Don't worry about it. Just if I'm being honest.
God. People are going to love this.
Yeah.
Well, here's the safety. So I saw you. We came and met you, and then we contacted you to come and do this, and then we boxed with you.
Yeah.
And I have to say something. You were so open to us and Keenan, the trainer who I just adore. He's just the best. And we were all in this together to support you and to also share and be part of it.
Yeah.
And I was really struck by how open you were. Have you always, or are you open sometimes and then you know enough to be protective of yourself as well? How do you manage that? Like what's your experience?
I think, if I'm understanding correctly, I think the openness comes from, I'm trying to empathize with this sport relative to the sport I know.
Right.
And so when I played basketball, I'm accustomed to being one of the more dominant players in the gym. And I know how I liked new people to come in, and I know how I didn't like new people to come in. And I tried to be respectful of that relative to this sport, because I know I'm outsider coming in, right? So I'm consciously trying to practice gratitude, right? And this idea of like, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that this person's taking time to teach me. There's nothing to prove here. What I don't want to do is have you feel like you've wasted your time trying to help me with something. And when I approach it from that perspective, it just really helps me be like, let's just be a sponge, man. Just be a willing sponge. Like, there's no pride in that. This ain't going on your record. You ain't a fighter, you know? And I just think the experience is more fun for that. But I also believe now that it's weird because I still view myself as young, but relative to basketball, like, I'm one of the older guys now, right? And I do like giving advice to younger players, because the truth is, no matter where I'm playing now, I do have the answers.
Right.
And if you're receptive to these answers, I would love for you to succeed with these answers. But if you're not receptive, I'm not interested in helping you. Right? And so I try to make sure I'm being as receptive as possible so that you're enjoying helping me. And then you go like, it's cool, he's picking this up. All right, yeah. All right, so try this. All right, cool. All right, now add this. I want the person helping to feel like that if I can. So I'm trying to be conscious of it.
I think
but I'm practicing.
You're like Yoda, you're doing it. There's no try. There's either you're doing or you're not doing it.
Fair.
So you're doing gratitude.
I
You
appreciate
are
that.
open,
Yeah,
period. You're not trying. You're doing it.
Oh,
Because
I
was
appreciate
there.
that.
Then-
Thank you.
And you can't fake that. There's one thing you can't fake is gratitude.
Yeah.
You really can't.
That's
You
real.
know, did you ever see someone try to say thank you with their teeth like almost clenched?
Yeah,
exactly.
Nick Kroll has a great bit about
It
that.
just
Yeah. He's
I
great
don't know
at it.
who they think they're fucking like, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you can't.
But let's be honest. Wait, hold on. We've faked gratitude. We just talked about faking orgasms. Like, what are we talking about? We've done this. We've
Yeah,
done
but
this.
I wasn't grateful for that
Okay.
experience. I will tell
Is that how you
I
came
just
like,
wanted to get out of here.
"Thank you."
I wanted to get out. I made a mistake. I need to end this. It's like,
so
you know, my claw. It's like, oh shit, I got to get out of here. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was great. I'm so sorry. I got to
Was it great for you too?
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
It was great. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
You changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm a new
Oh
person.
my God.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
totally.
All right. So you said something very important about the world right now, and
Yeah.
you were talking. You said, you know, if it's going to blow over or blow up, one of the two, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is what's going to happen. Tell me what it's like for you. Well, I actually didn't finish one thing. So Alabama was your dad was from.
Yes.
Mom was from where, and where did
Compton.
you grow up? Mom's from Compton.
Compton. They couldn't have been more not for each other.
Exactly.
You know how they say opposites attract? Tell those people to go fuck themselves.
That's
That shit
right.
doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, my dad was from Alabama. Mom was from Compton. Moved to Louisiana at some point. I don't know the whole story, but from Compton.
Okay.
They got married. Dad got sent to Germany. I was born there. Then when we got back stateside, moved around a bit, and then we centered on Tampa, Florida, because there's a big Air Force base there.
Oh,
So my
okay.
dad would
That's
still
how
have
you got to
resources.
Tampa.
Yeah, so that's why I'm from
Because
Tampa.
I saw Tampa Bay on Malcolm's hat.
Yes.
What are you for?
Yeah, we all grew up in Tampa together. So we all
Okay.
went to school together.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so I grew up in Tampa, but I traveled a ton, you know, and it wasn't for moving around because we had done that previously, but because I was playing basketball and these other sports, it was leading me to these other places. Then when I got to college, we're still traveling, we're going to these other places. And then when I did comedy, I basically just went to every city in the country, right? So I've pretty much been everywhere.
So high school was still Tampa, though?
Yes, the whole time, even college, Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tampa's, okay. So that's pretty much home base.
1,000%.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like I'm LA now. I've been here for 7 years, but home, if I'm just gonna say home generically, Tampa for sure.
How'd you get to LA? So when did you
Yeah.
work at something else and then go to comedy? Or did you literally get out of college and start? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, so I'll tell you exactly what it was. So I was in a position, I played Division II basketball, right? And a lot of people don't really understand the difference between the two. The difference on a fundamental level between D1 and D2 is just the amount of money that the school is willing to put towards the athletic program. It has nothing to do with the size of school, it has nothing to do with skill, right?
Okay.
It's about we're contributing this much money to scholarships, therefore we are classified as this. So there are certain D2 schools that are better than D1 schools, which a lot of people don't know,
Got it.
right? So we were at a good D2 school, and every one of our starters was a guy who could have gone D1 and chose to go D2 for whatever their personal reasons were. Mine was that all the places that were Division 1 were up north and in places where I was too scared to move, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
And then my dad had health concerns. So when I got an offer from my hometown school, it was an easy out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's not make it sound like it was a better situation. It was an easy thing for me to like give into my fear and go, well, I'll know the city. I'll be close to home. I don't gotta find a way to afford winter clothes. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Oh,
So I used it as a scapegoat.
Absolutely.
So I ended up at the University of Tampa, right? I'm sorry, I lost track. What are we talking
No, we were going how you got to LA, how you
That's
got into
it.
comedy.
Yes. So when I was, I majored in film and screenwriting. And
Really?
by happenstance, one of my professors used to be a writer for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And she was the one who encouraged me to look into doing stand-up. And I was already a massive stand-up fan. So in high school, Chappelle Show is peaking.
Yeah.
And Chappelle was always my favorite comic since I was 6 years old, right? And I'm one of those people who are like, I knew about him so long before anybody. He feels more like mine than other people. And there's a part of me that feels like that. He did 2 sketches that I had the exact same idea for when I was in high school. And he was doing the same jokes that I was thinking for the sketches. And it was just an eerie moment. This is the guy I think is the greatest comedian of all time. And I'm like,
And you're thinking
I'm 17. I'm thinking like him, you know, and at least in these fleeting moments. So I started keeping my ideas in a composite notebook. Anytime I just had any idea, I would just write it down. And who knows? Maybe I'll do something with it. Maybe I won't, but I don't want to lose track of it. And by the time I got to college, I had like 8 composite notebooks, like just full of premises.
Oh, and I love those notebooks. Those
They're
are the
great.
best.
Yeah, they're great, right?
Right.
And so when my professor said you should look into doing stand-up, I started going to shows at the local improv. We could get free tickets on Wednesday. So every Wednesday I would take my friends and we would just see a free show. I befriended the door guy who was
So you're
up-and-coming
planning.
comic.
Now you're making a plan.
I'm laying seeds, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still playing basketball. I still have dreams of playing in the NBA. And then like my senior year, I'm still playing well, but it's becoming much more clear that my route to the NBA is possible, but this long, like you're going overseas and you're doing this and you're doing, and I just don't want to do all of that. I just, my dream was college MBA.
Right.
And it's
Nothing
just
in between.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
doing
just
this.
not a
Right.
tangible thing from a D2 school. It's just not tangible, right? And as I'm accepting that, I'm going, all right, well, fuck it. Let's just jump in the stand-up. We were going to do it anyway. And, you know, and my thing was, this is the dumb thing I told myself. I told myself I didn't want to be the basketball player who did comedy. I wanted to be known for my comedy.
Okay.
I didn't want people to think we're only here to look at him because we know him from this other thing. I wanted to prove I was smart enough to do it on my own.
Okay.
And that was a big thing, which was stupid because I
Because these
I
people
lost
know you.
so much money.
Yeah,
The other way around. You know, I should have, no,
And
make
people
your
that know
money.
you. That's
Yes.
right. And people that know you.
But it was my pride and a lack of understanding.
Sure.
So I tried it cold, right? And I got addicted. And so I tried it fresh out of college, but I had 8 composite notebooks full of premises to start with, as opposed to other people when they start, they don't have any ideas. They just know they want to do it. So now they're scrambling.
Right. They only need
things to
3
talk
minutes.
about.
Like,
Yeah.
because open mic night is 3 minutes, I
Yeah,
think.
and I'm empowered. So I'm just going like, dude, I got premises for days. I'll just keep trying shit every week and I'll figure out what works, right? And so that gave me the confidence to keep going back. Long story short, I do stand up in Tampa for 8 years. I'm hitting the road. I'm doing all the things. I've won the contest. I'm doing festivals. I got chosen for JFL New Faces. I got named Florida's funniest comedian. I've gotten these accolades. I'm a big fish in a small pond. But Tampa is not where comedy grows. It just isn't, right? LA, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, these are your places.
Yep.
So here's what's wild. I tried to move to LA 3 times. And every time I was going to go, I saved up my money and something drastic would happen and it would eat my money. Hospital bill for somebody. My car broke down another time, I had to replace it. The 3rd time is when I actually got to move, right? And the only reason I could do it is because a guy named Gerald Williams, who I played basketball with at an LA Fitness, and I didn't know who Gerald was. Gerald was just a cool dude who was like my friend at LA Fitness. Come to find out, Gerald Williams is the same Gerald Williams who is Derek Jeter's best friend. He's a former MLB player, right? He knows what I've been doing. He's a good friend to me. He's a stand-up. He's like a mentor. But I never knew what he did. You see what I'm saying? He was just a cooler, older guy. I want to move to LA. I lose my money again. I have enough to move, but I don't have enough to get a car. Gerald buys me a car. And that's the reason I was able to get to LA.
Is he still around?
Passed away.
Oh.
Passed away not long. I didn't even get to, he passed away so soon after I didn't get to pay him back. And so it's one of the main reasons why I loan people money constantly. And in my head, I'm paying it forward for
That's
Gerald.
right, paying it
And
forward.
if you look at the end of my first special, there's an in memoriam to Gerald. And so if you watch Derek Jeter's documentary, right? Gerald's all over that thing. And
you didn't
when
even
you
know
hear Jeter talk about him, and I'm not a Yankees guy, when you hear Jeter talk about him, it's, if you know the guy, you can understand why like Jeter would keep that guy so close to chest and like why that would be his best friend. He's one of the dopest human beings I've ever met in my life. And to this day, I feel like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Gerald, because Gerald just believed in me. He had never seen a show. He believed in me from just us talking.
He believed in
at the gym.
you as a human being,
Yeah.
as a man, as a person.
Yeah.
That was enough for him.
He's incredible.
Right? Because he knew that that's the foundation of anything that you end up doing, right? So as opposed to just loving somebody or believing in someone because of their skill, when you believe in a person and everything that makes them that person, it doesn't matter what they're doing. I don't have to go see your comedy.
And I will say, so he had heard about my stand-up and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing I'll brag about in my stand-up that I'm proud of is who I am on stage is who I am in real life. And a lot of
I can
people
just attest to
are
that. If
putting
anybody
on-
needs to know that, send them to me.
Please,
Okay,
yeah.
'cause-
But that's a real thing.
And I'll
so,
say he's the same in the ring, too. He's the same in the box.
that's great. But I do think, so that, I think that played a weight in it, that he had heard enough things about me as well, where he was like, no, like the guy that I have a sense of, that actually is who he is.
Yeah.
And so, he bought me a car, and that's how I got here. And I was able to like commute around and find my work and get my footing. And one thing led to another. I've had a lot of success here in LA. I've been very grateful, very fortunate, but I'm still trying to build.
How did you meet Trey? Trey
You
Crowder.
want to, what's really funny
That's
about
got to be the funniest story
it's
ever.
not. Check this
not?
out. No. So I tour with another comic. He's one of my best friends, this guy named Brad Williams, right?
Okay.
Big star. Awesome. The company that books for Trey also books for Brad. And so I came by reference of the company where they were like, hey, man, if you need somebody, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it is Trey's audience actually pairs very well for what I like to talk about, my general disposition, right? So they were like, trust me, we got a guy.
Yeah.
So then I showed up. So I'm catching up with Trey backstage. Like I'm meeting him for the first time before we're doing the show.
When was that? Not the Santa Barbara
Yeah.
one. The show that I
Yeah, it was
saw
really good.
you.
Yeah. I met Trey 30 minutes before you saw him. Yeah. And you know what's really funny? Huge fan of Spartacus. We were talking about it the whole time. I'm showing him the tattoo. He's like, dude, you got, yes, I know. We do. There's a spinoff season coming.
Okay,
we're like, we talk all the time. We're like, dog, the spinoff's coming. You ready? Like, this is crazy. He's a great dude.
That just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we had just met, but we bonded super quick. Because the reality is we've got the same general disposition towards things.
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, yeah.
we're
You
not here
guys
to like ruffle
fit.
feathers so much as like, look, man, I'm just trying to have a good time and not be in the way of people. Like I just want to laugh together and move the fuck on. Like it's not
It's
deeper
like
than that.
it was like we all just had a barbecue and then we all just sat down and you guys played your instruments. You know what I mean? That's
Totally.
how it felt when I was there.
Yeah. We were
Other
just like,
than
we were
there was just
exchanging
too
bits in
many
the
white
background. It's like, oh yeah, this is how I attack that one. And he's like, oh, nice. I do this with that. Oh, that's cool. Like we bonded so fast. He's super dope dude.
And it would really, like, I never would have guessed that. I would have guessed, oh, these guys have been friends for years.
Yeah.
And they, make all this seamless kind of wonderful.
What's interesting is I've known about Trey for years. So I already knew I liked Trey's disposition and his comedy. Like I already knew that, but we had never had experiences together. But as soon as we started talking, I mean, it took no time at all. We were like, oh yeah, no, we fuck with each other. All right, cool. Which is a great feeling in comedy because it's not as common as you think, right?
Yeah.
I don't hang out with comics. Like I don't, like contrary to like how people think comedy works, I don't hang out with comics. I have very few comedian friends. I have them, but I think most comedians are sick. And I go,
Well,
I
I
don't,
can
I'm not
attest to
interested in
that.
hanging out with sick people. I'm trying to be around healthy people.
I hung out with a lot of comedians
Totally.
years and years and years ago, and they have issues.
Yeah.
I would say it that way. That they have issues.
I almost like in my world, when you talk about all the rules in comedy, like all of the unwritten rules, like that kind of concept, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to feel this way about this and you got to speak to that like that. Like I get it, but I don't always identify with it.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like don't steal from people, like obviously, you know what I mean? But I'm saying just generally like the ways in which you have to like be vulnerable to things that you shouldn't have to be vulnerable to, like the hazing in comedy. Like I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. Right. And I just go, there's no world where you have the right to talk to me like that. I'm not going to let you talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And wherever that puts me is where that puts me. Right. But I always try to go like, let your skills speak first. You don't really have to do anything else. And when you dreamed of being a comedian, you didn't dream of being friends with comedians. That wasn't part of the dream.
That's right.
I dreamed of doing my job. When I go on the road, none of y'all are here. What do I care what you think? You're not even a part of the show.
Right.
Right? So I don't really care if comics laugh at my stuff. They do, but I don't care if they do. It's fine. It wasn't for you in the first place. Yeah. So I think when you find yourself in this community, and I truly mean yourself, you will stop caring about the consensus of the community.
And caring can lead to...
And the community is sick.
Yeah, that's... Well, like I said, they definitely have issues. And I've worked with a lot of comedians that would say, well, if I get well, I won't be funny. Like, actually,
yeah, that's crazy. So I don't drink.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that people rip on me for is just like, so you're funny like that and you don't drink? Like, they try to make it sound like a shortcoming to like rib me for. And I go like, well, no, I like being in control of what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they're going like, but I just, when I drink, I feel loose up there. I'm like, cool, I feel loose already. I'm grateful that I get to feel loose.
If you're any looser,
yeah. So like they gotta
Gumby.
smoke. Like I don't do drugs. You know what I mean? And to be clear, I'm not against either of those two things.
Me either.
Dude, do your thing. It's just not my thing. I'm a control freak. I love being like, I chose to do that shit.
That's right.
I don't want to hear a story about like, wait, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
You want to hear a great one?
Yes,
I'll tell you one story about losing control. This is. I only drank once in my whole life. My best friend in college, he made a bet with me. I said, if you can graduate with a GPA that was of this level, I'll fly to New York, which is where he was originally from. I'll go up there. I'll drink with you. You'll be the only person who ever saw me get drunk. He goes, bet. He fucking does it. Graduates with a certain GPA, right? I fly up to New York. We get drunk with him in New York City. We're walking around. We've been drinking for hours at this point. I don't even know what time it is. It's late. We're walking around. And I go, hey, man, I gotta pee. We got to find somewhere to go. And he goes, just go in a building. I go, no, let's find a bathroom. He goes, it's New York City. He said it like that's the slogan for the city. He was like, pee anywhere you want, man. New York City,
I love New York.
Yeah,
pee anywhere you
it's
want.
great, yeah. And so I go, all right, well, you got to look out for me. And he goes, all right. And so I start peeing on this building, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and no one's there. Well, it's not my buddy. It is a New York State police officer, right?
You're the only person, probably that ever has been, right?
I turn around. It's a cop. It's a cop. He's
Did
right
you
there.
stop
My
peeing?
buddy is I was peeing on his shoes.
Oh.
I just turned around. I was still
you
peeing. Now I'm pissing on a cop in a place that I'm not from, and I don't drink. I don't know any of these things, but this is what's happening. Cop goes, you're going to jail. And I go, just let me put my dick away first. That's how drunk I was, that I thought he would arrest me with my dick out. Yeah. That he wouldn't be like, well, yeah, you're going to put that up first, and then we'll. So he goes to put the handcuffs on me, and I back up. This is for real what came out my mouth. And the reason I know this is because the story was retold to me. That's why I know all this happened, right? I said, if you take me to jail with my dick out, the other cops are going to think you're gay.
Oh, you said that?
That's what I said. I'm 23 years old. And then he let me go. Homophobia saved my life.
Oh, this is, if you don't write a movie with that scene in it,
it's a real
I
story.
don't know.
Crazy. The cop, like in the cop's logic, he was like, they will think I'm gay. And he let me go. It was the dumbest thing I've ever, the older I am, the more I'm mad he let me go.
We shouldn't even tell this story. Every robber, every criminal in the world is now going to just walk around with their dick out when they're doing the crime.
Totally.
So
hey, man, as long as your dick's out, they won't take you in.
They won't take you in.
They won't take you in.
So,
see, ski mask got holes up here. They need to have, you know what I mean? Turn that ski mask upside down. You got 3 holes. Boom, bop, bop. You know what's going through what. Yeah. But that's in my head the last time that I consciously let control go, right? And look where it got
or
me.
peed on a building.
Sure. I also haven't peed on a building since. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Anywhere.
Yeah, a lot of trauma when I see buildings. I just go, I'll just walk in the street. So I'm a control freak in that way, and I just don't care. I don't care about drinking. I don't feel the need to.
I wish we didn't use the word control freak, because you and I have both been indoctrinated to believe that.
I think it does have a negative connotation, and I don't mean it that way.
Yeah.
I like feeling in control. I like
knowing I have options.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
When you get drunk, you have no options.
Yeah.
Right? If you're really shit faced, you have no options. And I used to tell people that, I did this whole comedy on safer sex and everything. And I said, the trouble is when you drink, alcohol goes to the part of your brain that tells if you're doing anything stupid. I call it the stupid shit center, and it turns it off.
Yeah.
That's why you do a whole bunch of stupid shit when you're drunk.
Yeah.
So
when I jump in a bush, it's my choice.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I want to know that I have options at any moment.
Yeah.
when the shit's going to hit the fan, I want to be the one that go, okay, everybody, here's where we're going. This is what we're doing,
Facts.
right? Yeah.
When we would go to the club, which I'm not a clubber, right? When we would go to the club in college, like I would always drive because I always wanted to know I had a way out.
Yeah. Are we the Pisces? Are you a Pisces?
I'm Pisces,
Yeah, we're those Pisces.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
That
I don't believe in the zodiac, horoscope. I don't know which one.
Well, I will tell you.
I believe in the zodiac killer.
Yeah.
All right. Outside of that, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it works either. I mean, I know a lot of people do. Here is what I do know is all those signs, all the 11 other signs are all from the stars in the sky, right? Like there's no sign for Pisces. So they needed 12. They only had 11. And what they decided was that the people born in that particular time from late April or March or mid-March, we're just going to make up a sign. And they said, we're going to take...
King Henry this shit?
Yeah. They said, we're going to take a little bit of every sign.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little Sagittarian, a little Libra, and then Taurus. We're going to take a little bit of that. We're going to make up this sign called Pisces.
You sound like you're making up a Powerpuff Girl.
Exactly. It's
little
exactly
this, little that, little X.
But wait, if that's true.
Yeah.
And we're very artistic usually. A lot of actors are Pisces, and we can empathize, and we live differently. There's actually research on this. It could be that we can empathize and all of that because we're a little bit of everybody.
I mean, okay.
All right, maybe.
I mean, listen, I love where your head's at.
I know.
But my bullshit meter is also going, I don't know, man. I don't know. What are we
talking
about?
I think so too. But I just said, okay, well, I'll accept that. I would rather be a little bit of everybody and be unique.
I love the concept of that.
Me too, yeah.
Here's my...
This is Sagittarian. You have to do it that way.
I don't like that. So my favorite movie ever is The Matrix, right? And one of the key scenes from that is, do you believe in fate? That conversation. And Neo says no. And Morpheus asks, why don't you believe in fate? And Neo says, because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life. And that always resonated with me. I saw that when I was 11, and I was like, that's
right, right.
And so to this day, I just feel like, listen, man, if it's correct, fine. But I'm not giving my belief and my energy to it because I like consciously feeling like I'm choosing this. Right?
Yeah, I want to know. And I think there's people in the world, there's only two kinds of people. And we talk about gender and race and all that other stuff. And I go, no. There's only two kinds of people.
Yeah, there's people you're going to fuck and people that won't fuck you. I'm joking.
That absolutely. I'm more in that category now because I'm so old. But that's okay. I had plenty.
Yeah.
So it's people who want to know. That's one kind of person.
Okay.
They want to know.
Yeah.
They're curious. They want to know. They want to keep learning and all like this. And for the rest of their life, they're always adjusting, transitioning, changing, and want to know. And then there's too many fucking people that already think they know because they don't want to know.
Sure. Yeah.
They don't want to know.
I have a very similar take. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So for me, it's like all I have to do is want to know. That means there has to be conditions that help me know.
Okay.
One of them is my own open mind. One of them is not my pride, not my ego, all that shit I've got to put aside. Got to stay curious. Got to be able to be wrong so that I can learn something.
May I ask you something about this?
Yeah.
A little theory I have in my head. When you learn something new, do you feel empowered by the fact that you learned a new thing?
Absolutely.
My thing is, I think the world divides into two people. I think there are people who feel empowered by learning something new, and there are people who feel lessered by learning something new.
I think you're right. And afraid.
Yes.
And lesser can mean
I think the more aware you become of your lack of intelligence, it makes you feel further behind.
Yeah.
And that's such a scary feeling that people don't like new information. They're like, I already got the shit figured out. Don't add shit. Don't add shit.
Don't, because it's scary. And, it's interesting. I just worked with someone actually that was like that. And it took me a while to help him understand that he was so smart that when he didn't want to learn something new, he wasn't using this best part of him. And when he could start to say, I didn't know that, or I used to do that and I don't do that anymore because I want to know. He became calmer, and he said to me, Suzi, I never believed. It took me like 3 years to convince this guy, like, well, just try it, see what happens. Yeah. And when he stopped having to always be right, or it's actually not wanting to be right, it's being afraid of being wrong. And when we went back into his childhood, we found out that he was always made wrong. He was made wrong by his mother and his other two brothers. He's terrified of being wrong.
Yes.
Like, I cannot be wrong. And I identified with that, so that's why I could see it in him.
May I speak to that?
Yeah.
There's some, I've always said this, and I I love that you brought that up. Okay, so I think when you're seeing a lot of the internet discourse where a lot of people are trolling and they feel the need to correct people, I think that is based in when you're in elementary school and a teacher asks the class a question and they say, does someone have the answer? And she'll call on somebody and they'll give the wrong answer. And then what do the kids do? Like they put their hand up like more aggressively.
That's right.
Right?
It's
and they're like, please, me.
Right,
And it's
right,
like
right.
they're being rewarded for showcasing that they were better or more correct than someone, right? As opposed to like, hey, instead of going to that student, I know some teachers will go, I'm going to go to someone who's more calm, so I don't reward that. Yeah. So I get that. I would rather don't go to anybody else. Stick with the student who's wrong. Yeah. Let's work it out together.
Yeah, that's right.
So that you're never getting corrected. I'm helping you figure out how to figure it out.
Exactly. You're learning how to learn.
Right. Now, granted, I'm no teacher, so I don't really understand what I'm asking you to go through in order to execute that, but I like it conceptually.
You are a teacher. You have a son now.
Sure.
Every time you do something, you're teaching him.
Yeah.
He's watching you like a hawk, even at 5 months. Have you noticed how, so the brain of a child grows exponentially, faster, bigger, and more aggressive than any other time in their life, from pre-birth, which means in the womb, to 5 or 6 years old.
That's the most scientific way of saying your kid's got a big head.
It's right.
Right.
A totally big head.
It's very big.
Right. It's like huge head.
Yeah.
And so that brain, so when parents say this to me all the time, I go, well, did you argue? Do you argue? Oh, yeah, we argue, but we don't argue in front of them. Oh, so they don't pick up your energy. Okay, got that. Right. Yeah, we only argue at night when they're sleeping. I go, they're not dead. People in coma can hear. They can hear, right? So you are a teacher, which is interesting because I don't think we realize that when we have a child, we are their first president and their first cop, and we're their first nurse, and we're their first pastor, and we're their first teacher.
My dad was my first barber. And
that's exactly first barber, right? And you suffered through that. And so this idea that they're watching everything that you're doing, so you as a young man saying, wow, I still want to learn, the best gift we can give our kids is that excitement about learning.
Totally.
As opposed to, you just mentioned what a school is based on is reward and punishment.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how
at least in that brief moment. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to shit on schools.
Yeah. I don't either. Yeah. I went to intern and I love school and I still love school.
Yeah.
And if we could shift that a little bit from reward and punishment to the excitement of learning.
Yes.
Then everybody would love school.
Basically, we're saying, like, how do we make it the magic school bus?
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to do. You know what I mean?
Exactly right.
But there is something to that concept of, like, anytime you can make practical use of the lesson, all of a sudden the lesson becomes more fun, right?
Absolutely.
My big thing, I love Greek mythology, right? But if you actually read Greek mythology, it's boring as shit. But if someone explains it to you, you realize it's the first comic book.
That's right.
Look at those stories. It's the first comic book.
Spartacus, didn't you just talk about?
Sure. Roman. Yeah.
Roman,
It's great.
Greek,
the Roman Empire is so interesting.
That's
like,
exactly right.
Hot take. Did you see Gladiator 2?
I sure did.
Okay, here's my hot take. Denzel's not the bad guy.
No, he's not actually.
Yeah. Okay. He's a man who was made a slave by the Roman Empire, and his plan is to take down the empire that enslaved him. Right. Show me the bad person, right?
That's right.
I actually think everything he was doing, I was like, this all seems pretty fair to me. I don't really see the villain.
Like, from a therapist point of view, and I'm looking at trauma.
Yeah.
Going, look at what you did to him.
Yeah.
Like, this is, you, and so here's one of my mantras. You're at risk of doing to yourself and others what was done to you.
Yeah. So here's what's wild. So Lucius, the whole thing is Lucius's comeback to Rome, right? To save Rome, the place that betrayed him. Why aren't you friends with Denzel?
That's exactly right.
Y'all sound like you're on the same team. It makes no sense
Look
that
you're what he did to your wife.
Let's take this place down. This totally makes sense, dude. We're already here.
Well, it's so funny when we were talking. I told you I grew up in a mixed race family, and I have lots of friends of all different shapes, colors, sizes, and everything else. And I go, I'm not an ally. I'm an accomplice.
Oh,
I'm an accomplice, dude.
I have a great bit about this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I used to make the argument that as a black person, you know what I hate seeing white people do is when someone says the N-word and someone white goes, you can't say that. I hate seeing white people do that because that's my line.
That's right.
Stop trying to steal my moment. That's my line.
That's exactly
That's my big moment where I get to go,
right.
hey, you don't. Right?
Yep.
Here's what I need you to do. This is what support is. I need you to say motherfucker after my line. If I go, you don't get to call me N-word, and then you go, motherfucker, now I feel supported.
Oh my God, I'm going to do that.
Now we're a team.
I'm going to do that.
My argument is I don't want allies. I want motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And I get so many messages from people online like, I'll be your motherfucker any day. And I'm like,
I'll
you have
be your
no idea how
motherfucker.
much joy that brings me.
I want
if
a
I can
t-shirt. Alex, Kirsha, we have to make t-shirts called I'm your motherfucker. Oh,
dude, I think it's a beautiful concept when you like get behind it. The idea of like, that's what support looks like.
So will you be part of our council when we shoot that?
I'm more than happy to. Yeah. I don't know if we'll come to a conclusion, but I'm down to try.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, let's just see what happens.
It's just a discussion.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's a discussion.
Yeah, totally.
That's right. And let's see what we can find that is we're all in agreement of versus what we're always against. I'm good with being against shit. Totally, I'm okay with that. I also, though, want to make sure I know what I'm in agreement with.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we don't do enough of. So tell me the one, so we sort of end on this, because what's your son's name?
Jameson Blade Ball.
Jameson Blade Ball. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I got a great story for why it's Blade.
I need to hear that.
It's in my first special.
Talk about what you're going to watch. Make sure you go to YouTube. What's the name of the special?
The first one is called It's My Privilege.
It's My Privilege.
The new one that just dropped is called Jesus in the Crack House. There's a great reason for it. It's not blasphemous in the least, so if anybody's nervous for that,
Jesus
it's not
where else would he be?
It's such a great story, and everybody loves it. Once you hear it, you go like, okay, you got to call it that.
That's where he would be. He wouldn't be in some big cathedral with all the gold and shit. That's not where
he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So just like he's in the cathedral, he's in that crack house too, man.
That's right.
You know?
That's exactly
But it's a great story.
All right, so tell this story.
So I used to do this joke about if I ever had a mixed kid, I would name him Blade because the character Blade is my favorite superhero of all time. And the whole thing is that he is half this and half that, right? He is half human, he is half vampire. So I'd raise him up on the operating table and I'd be... You get the point. So the point is, in the first special, I brag about, listen, if I had an interracial kid, I would name him Blade. And he'd be the best of both worlds, right? And then I had an interracial kid, and it was like a put up or shut up moment. You know what I mean? You're like, well, what are you gonna do, dude?
That's right.
You said what you're gonna do.
That's exactly right.
And so, like, it's very hard to convince her to go first name Blade, but middle name Blade seemed like a safe choice. So for those who know, when they hear his name, they'll be like, oh my God, he fucking did it.
He did it.
It's literally just for the joke.
It's called integrity.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I also think it's a cool nickname. If I was a kid, if I was a little boy and my nickname was Blade, I'd be like, I'm pretty badass, man. I'm not gonna lie. My last name's Ball. I got called Balls for 20 years.
Oh
so
God.
I'll take Blade.
Can't even imagine big balls.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
JB had to stand for Joyous Big Balls or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you know? Did your last name's Ball and you play ball? Never heard that.
Never heard that.
Nope, not once.
What does J stand for?
It's Jonathan.
Jonathan?
Yeah. I have the whitest name on earth.
I was just going to say that.
I sound like I'm an anchor for like CNN.
No. And what's the B stand for?
It works either way because my middle name's a B. So I used to go by JB, which is my stage name.
Oh, so it's just the B.
So it's JBB or my initials. So it works out regardless. So I can go JB Ball and my middle name's Brian. So Jonathan Brian Ball, which is, come on, super white on a resume.
So white.
I show up and you're like, oh,
I was going to say your photographer.
And I'm like, my credentials are the same.
I know. I was going to say something to Malcolm. I was going to go, you don't look like a Malcolm.
Yeah. He looks super Asian.
Malcolm? And I said, oh, I better not say that.
Yeah, it's his name.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's name was Malcolm Leroy Holmes Jr.
Oh, wow.
That was my brother.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. Imagine doing that on a Scantron. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
You don't even get time to do the test. You're like, I'm still doing my name, man.
Oh, my God. So where are you playing next? Where do we get to see you?
I'm doing a run through Texas next month. I'm going to be...
Oh, good luck.
I love going to Texas.
Okay,
I love going to Texas.
Really?
You know what it is? It's because you've seen my show. I like poking the bear.
Yeah.
Right? But my argument is I'm going to poke the bear in a way. You're going to be on my side by the end of this.
That's right.
And listen, I'm not going to change how you vote. I'm not going to. It's a comedy show.
Right.
But I will give you a new way to look at something where you're like, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. You know?
Yeah.
And so Texas is a fun way to go like, all right.
All right. So you'll be in Texas.
Yeah. So we'll do Austin. I'm going to be with Brad Williams for this.
I love Austin.
It's a big theater tour. So we'll be in Austin for Moon Tower Festival. And then I believe we're going to, I don't remember the order, but we'll be doing Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio as well that same week. So 4 theater shows. That's going to be in like the middle of April. The dates are on my website. I just don't know them offhand.
Right. But
if you guys want to come out, you'll see the new material I'm working on. It's very fun. It's very fun.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Will you come back? Well, first of all, we want you to come back and box. You were a
Please,
natural
yeah.
athlete, obviously, and that was pretty impressive to watch you box.
I think Keenan was
And
very kind to me, but thank you.
No, so what we'll do is, I don't know what you're going to do with it, but
Yeah.
let us know what you do with all that film that we took downstairs while he was boxing with us, and then come back.
Yeah.
If you will come back.
I would love to.
And we're just huge fans.
Thank you.
So we're going to make sure that everybody always knows to go see your work, participate in that work, be an audience member, be present, and be with him, and scream and yell and clap. And I can't even tell you how much
It's a great
we
time.
enjoyed you.
It's a really fun show.
It's a really fun
So
show.
yeah, I hope more people are open to it. And please go check out the special. The reviews are great. If you don't believe me, go read the comments first. I let people speak for it.
I can tell you for sure because I saw him live. I brought him here to you.
This is true.
That's true. So be crazy well, so I can officially say you are. That's the name of our company.
Oh, okay. You're
Be Crazy
you're
Well.
telling me to say it?
No,
Okay.
I'm saying that you are crazy
Oh,
well. So I just want you to know that.
I
That when I
appreciate that.
sit with people, at the end I go, okay, you made it. You're Be Crazy Well. You're
yeah.
definitely a crazy well person.
New tattoo?
Yeah.
New tattoo?
New
Let's
tattoo.
do it.
Let's do it. All right. Bless your heart.
Thank you so much.
Bless
This
your
was
heart.
great.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
doing
you.
this. I appreciate you too. And we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Bless you. Be crazy well.